Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Carnage Unleashed. How's everybody doing today?
Great. I don't know about you, but I love that intro song. I don't know whoever made it. Just they did an awesome job. They did an awesome job. Whoever made that music.
that guy should pat themselves on the back on camera right now.
Yeah, on camera.
You guys reminded me I have some music projects due in 6 days, so
He's too busy.
Nice. Clayton, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. A UFC this weekend turned out okay. I think it's kind of been clear on the show. I'm not the biggest fan of how the PFL does stuff, but their last show definitely had a couple positive moments. Anytime Conor McGregor, stays silent and only speaks through his lawyer, it was a good weekend. So, Kev, how are you?
Yeah.
So I'm doing great. I'm sure some of the folks at Bare Knuckle wish that Conor would speak less every once in a while. But that's neither here nor there. I'm very excited. As you guys know, the end of the show will be great because we got a packed wrestling minute. It would be a wrestling hour if we had the time and the space, but don't worry. I'm here for you guys for all your Royal Rumble prep, all right?
Are we going to rumble? Are we going to rumble today?
Dude, I'm ready. Yeah. Ready. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to put Clayton through the table today, all right? You've gone through enough tables as it is, Kev.
I did it once at a crew game. I can do it again.
I figured that would have been like a BG game or something, not a crew game.
I can get a little bit more. I work during most BG events, so I can get a little bit more rowdy down in Columbus for sure.
There you go.
Dude, crew games get wild. I actually had somebody, a young woman, put me on her back and do the Lex Luger torture rack. I believe she squatted about 10 reps of Kev that day in the Nordeck. There's video footage out there somewhere. We get wild at those crew games. It's the closest I think you'll find in the pro sports atmosphere that gets anything to being in a college section, right? Like when you're at the fan section at a soccer game, it's all about chants, drums, smoke, flags. People are doing the wave. It reminds you of being in college in the home team section.
That's awesome.
Wow. I catch an elbow.
Well, talk about some elbows. I know a lot of guys who are now in the GFL have thrown and caught some elbows. So we had the GFL Draft this past week. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was looking at some of these names. I'm going to bring it up, actually.
Those of you who don't know, it's also called the Global Fight League, GFL.
Yes. And so have you seen some of the people that are on this there, Clayton?
Yeah. There's a couple guys I recognize from The Ultimate Fighter, obviously a lot of UFC vets, including a couple of UFC champions too.
Yeah.
Like I say UFC, I don't want to say with an asterisk because obviously they won the championship in the best MMA promotion ever. Most of these guys are over like 38 and above.
Yeah.
What you don't think Rashad Evans or Frank Mir or Uriah Hall are you think they're too old for this sport? Is that what
this is called the Granddad Fight League?
Exactly. Seriously. I'll throw this out there. Like, look, dude, if you want to fight, that's your business. That if you still think you can get in there and put on a show, you need the money. I get it. However, as Kev always says, like fighter safety, like I think Rashad Evans is 45.
Yeah.
Young man. Coming from a man who's 35, young man.
He's going to hit a second win, I think, for sure. For sure.
It's like a lot of the former champions and stuff. You're like, oh, there's some big names. But yeah, like you said, they're like 38 to like 45. I'm like, they're getting up there. I mean, obviously they could probably wipe out 98% of the population on the street.
Right.
But they're definitely knocking me out, especially after hearing what I just said.
Frank Mir will kick my ass too. Like there's
there's one freak that's in there that I don't care how old he is. What's that?
I was gonna say they're not all freaks like that guy you're about to say.
Yeah. Romero. I mean, Romero is a freak. Like
that guy's 104. Nobody knows how old he is.
He's a vampire.
I've heard stories like of scientists talking about how they've looked at his muscles and like just like the intertwining of his muscles is so compact, and like it's like his healing ability is like off the charts as well. Like he's just a freak of nature.
Yeah, I was listening to Joe Rogan. He was talking about how like one fight he like broke his orbital bone, and then by the end of the fight, like, and he went to the doctor and they were doing X-rays and stuff. It already started healing.
Yeah.
That's
Lord
crazy.
knows what the Cubans did to that dude.
What in the Wolverine is going on here?
It was Captain Cuba.
Yeah.
Exactly. For those of you who might not know, he was a wrestler. He was a Cuban Olympic wrestler. Didn't start MMA until he was, 31? Didn't get to the UFC until he was 36. Challenged for a belt twice. Like, this dude's a wrecking ball.
Freak.
He might be the one. You might be right, Zach. He might be the one exception to age is just a number.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and so you've got 6 teams. So that's how they did it. So they did 6 teams throughout the world. Now I'm not going to be able to pronounce all of these because me and pronunciation.
I'll do this for you. It's
Blake,
Dubai, London, Los Angeles, Sao Paulo, Miami, and New York.
Okay.
So there's 6, and then they have a manager and a head coach. So like for Dubai, the manager is Cain Velasquez.
Oh.
The coach is Javier Mendez. For
coach.
London, yeah. For London is Luke Barnett and Coach Carl Prince. Los Angeles is Wanderlei Silva.
Okay.
And Rafael Cordero.
See, this had him written all over it. I was surprised he didn't get picked up as a fighter.
Yeah, I was wondering the same thing too. And then for Miami is Diego Alves and Coach Conan Silveira. And then New York, the manager is to be announced, and the coach is no other than Ray Longo.
One of the best in the business, man.
Yeah.
They did their homework. They did their homework with an asterisk because, like we said,
forgot Sao Paulo is their manager is Lyoto Machida.
Oh, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah,
Yep,
seriously.
Man, that takes you back, huh? Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, what didn't you say Holly Holmes was in this as well?
Yeah, Holly Holmes is in this.
Isn't she like in her late 40s now?
Yeah, she's
42.
I mean, don't get me wrong. The woman knows how to fight, but you start getting
42.
But maybe women will be different than men in that aspect, because if you think about it, on the men, we're ran by testosterone, right? So we start losing that at a certain point. Women don't have that at all. I mean, I understand you can get older than that, but I feel like women would be able to do this longer than men might be able to, because you can't compete with a younger man who's full of testosterone. Let's be honest. It's just,
well,
I mean,
not legally.
Yeah.
Okay,
there we go.
But this is interesting though, because they did a draft. It was a draft pool of 500 fighters they could have picked from, and there was 120 athletes were going to be selected over 10 weight classes. So for the men, it's heavyweight, lightweight, middleweight, welterweight, lightweight, featherweight, and bantamweight. And then women's was bantamweight, strawweight, and atomweight. So it's good.
GFL was having a hard time finding featherweights or flyweights too. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, no. And then from what I understand is that they're going to have a regular season, a semifinals, and a finals throughout the whole year, which was I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work.
And this stuff starts like in the spring, right?
April, I believe.
Yeah. So in this, do you guys remember? I don't remember. How long are the seasons? Like, how long is like season 1, I suppose?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that. Just
because I think it's a couple of months is what if I'm not mistaken, it's like 3 or 4 months is all it is.
Just from everything I've seen, I think they're going to be done before the end of the year. Like, they're going to have everybody fight and have the championships and semifinals before the end of the year.
I'm interested in how they're going to do all this, just because like people get hurt. I guess that's why you've got 2 in each weight class.
Yeah.
But
even then, like,
Is this going to be like wrestling then, Wade? Like it's
Yeah,
a
I don't
point
know.
to this
That's
one?
what
Like we
I
have a
am
meet?
wondering the logistics of this. Like,
Like
it
maybe
seems
that's
pretty cool.
because maybe that's how they'll do it. It's like, okay, so London is playing is fighting Miami this week or whatever that they're going to do on this card. That's just what it is. It's just Miami versus London, and then all their they take one person and they fight from each division.
That could be it. That would be a way to space it out.
Deal they're gonna get too, because like if they can get, can you imagine if they got on like Netflix?
Yeah,
that'd be huge because that'd make it easy
Yeah.
to watch. Everybody has Netflix, even I do.
Well, it sounds like a lot of things are starting to go to the streaming services now. I mean, look, you had the I'm trying to think now. I can't. Paul and
The ghost of
We
Mike
call
Tyson.
Mike Tyson.
yeah,
that was on
and the
Netflix.
ghost of Mike Tyson, the skeleton of Mike Tyson. I mean, other than the streaming of it, yeah, everything looked good. It sucked at the streaming, and Netflix fixed that though because they did football on Christmas,
Yep.
and didn't they also do what else are they doing on Netflix? Wrestling.
They're doing
Wrestling?
Monday Night Raw
Yeah.
every Monday for 3 hours, and that's had only minimal issues so far.
That's good. I mean, at least
the production.
I want to
looks great.
see them succeed because I'd love to see it on there, and that might be another reason why all the prices keep on going up because they're trying to get these pay-per-view things. They're trying to get all the stuff around and pay for these live streams on Netflix.
Hey, I don't know about anybody else, but I'd rather pay like a premium of like $20 and get all those pay-per-views for free rather than paying $80 every time I want to watch like a premium.
That's what I was going to say. If they do make it to Netflix and have any level of success, maybe not any, but to a certain watermark, the UFC will almost have no choice but to pivot, because if you're over here and you're paying, what is it for Netflix with ads? I think it's still less than $10 a month. You'll just get ads during the live event.
Something like that.
Yeah, because that's what I do. I'm getting served ads if I watch Raw live, and then if I watch it the next day, there's no ads. But if you can for $10 a month watch all of those fights, why would you ever pay the ESPN Plus monthly plus the $120, whatever the hell it is? You're just going to wait for the monumental UFCs. You're just going to pick the main events that you want to see. You're not going to, I don't think personally the ESPN Plus on its own, like it's not something I'm paying for. I don't watch Coastal Carolina versus Eastern Tennessee games. So I don't have,
You're not a true college football fan then, Kev.
That's true. That's very true. But so if you have that, like, and I think they have some MLS games and stuff, so it's not like there's nothing there, but it pales in comparison to Netflix, right? And then so if you can get Netflix plus fighting, I feel like that's really going to put a dent in UFC's pay-per-view buys, and they're going to have no choice but to come down on that price or potentially do what their bosom buddies over at the WWE are already doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC themselves are on Netflix here soon enough. Whenever this current deal expires, I would almost bet money that Netflix gets a little piece of the UFC. The other half of the company's already there. So they're also, commoditizing this. I think that's a made up word, but they're compartmentalizing this stuff, right? Where it's no longer exclusive rights. Look at the NFL. They're on 4 different streaming services now throughout this. So right. I imagine, say what you want to say about Dana and some other folks at UFC. They do pretty well as far as making money and making these business decisions. I don't think they're going to let that go. I think they're going to see that opportunity, and they'll be on a streaming service in the next few years too. A question I have for you guys about this, is there any, just thinking about the older folks, right? Like, my first inclination was, wow, some of these guys probably shouldn't be fighting for their own safety, but there's no denying that they were going to have some name value, some drawing power that some of these young folks may not have. And in a sense, this could be building some stars, I think, right here, because if the name is big enough, even if we all know here, like even if the 4 of us are like, yeah, Rashad's going to get knocked out by this 26-year-old go hard that nobody knows, but clearly to the random Netflix watcher, it's like, oh my God, he just knocked out that icon. And the next thing they go to the UFC and get big money somewhere else. It's going to be the WWE all over again. But is that Is that something you guys think will be a plus for this? You think it's going to happen, or are these names just not worth what they used to be?
For me, I think it was a smart move to get these former champions, these big names, to start off with. It's because everybody's like, obviously, round one, number one overall pick for this draft was Tyron Woodley. So
that tracks.
A lot of people know Tyron Woodley, former champion in the welterweight division, and like you get these big names. You had an up-and-comer Sage Northcutt, like Giard Musasi, however you say his name. Kevin Lee's in there. Chris Weidman's in here. Like Anthony Pettis. These big names.
You did not just say Uriah Faber.
Hey, you might not like him, but he's still a big name. He's a California boy.
Hey, I don't have an issue with him. But that one blows my mind. Like when I think of older guys, I usually just think of like a heavyweight that maybe just didn't get knocked out a lot, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, that guy's gonna fight in his 40s. But Uriah Faber, that dude is
45.
I was about to say, like, that dude was getting up there like when we were in college. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, damn, bro, really? Hey, good for him.
Hey,
get paid one more time.
Hey, Tony Ferguson's on here too, and he's how old is Tony now?
He's only 39, but that dude's taking some damage here.
Yeah, maybe it's just his face looks like he's a lot older.
Yeah, he looks like he's 93, but we can move on from that.
After losing like 99 lives against freaking
Gaethje took his soul. I'm convinced. That was like,
man, I thought he was gonna die. I literally was like, I'm watching the dude die right now.
Yeah, like just I've never seen a beat down like that.
It was like somebody took wooden bat, was just hitting him over and over again. Pop, pop. And I'm like, oh gosh, he's gonna die. I'm gonna watch it live right now.
The only dude I, objectively speaking, could see make the jump to the UFC is Wade. Like you brought up Sage Northcutt. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if he's 30 yet.
No, he's still pretty young. Like he was like the up and comer and just kind of fell off, and then he went over to one. I think he had
karate,
like 2
right?
matches. Yeah, he had a karate background.
He was the model before he got into all this stuff too, right? That's who I'm thinking. Okay, just making sure that's
he's a freak athlete. Like
yes,
ripped his head, very athletic, but he just had a bad go of it. After going over to one championship, he got in a fight and broke like his face somehow.
Yeah, his face got destroyed his first fight with one.
Yeah, and he was out for a couple years and then kind of started making his way back into the scene.
Fun fact, his first career loss was to my dear friend Brian Barberina. Brian caught him in an arm triangle from half guard.
That's always
that was his first loss.
Yeah. So I think it was a smart move to launch like this promotion with these big former names that a lot of people know. It's going to bring eyes. It's new. Got these big names and a lot of them. Now it's just the execution, I think, is how do you execute this whole regular season, semis and finals, and you get these champions, and then what after that? And then how do you start bringing in fresh young blood that are not going to the UFC?
Yep.
Clayton, what's your take on it?
Overall, just looking at these teams, like Wade said, there's a ton of name value here. Like, obviously, another name we haven't brought up yet, Luke Rockhold. He was a champion. Todd Duffy. If you guys listen to the Anik and Florian podcast, you'll hear down goes Duffy out cold. That's him. That he's apparently still fighting. He's from back in the day. Timur Valiev, like I mentioned, a couple guys from The Ultimate Fighter. He was on The Ultimate Fighter on team. Oh, it was the year McGregor and Chandler coached against each other. He was on Chandler's team. Benson Henderson, Rashad Evans. That's one name that we talked about a little bit off camera. I can't believe that dude's still fighting. But
yeah.
Hector Lombard, Yoel Romero, Junior Dos Santos should not be fighting. That dude. MMA for a little bit too. Zach.
Chad Mendez. That's a good one too.
Last week you brought up watching stuff on OnlyFans, so I'm sure Paige Van Zandt getting drafted probably. But that's neither here nor there. Dylan Dennis, obviously a big Twitter guy. Yeah, Dylan Dennis is on Team New York. Ray Longo, New York Italian old school Ray Longo is coaching Dylan Dennis.
Oh wow.
I can't wait for those behind the scene clips.
Oh, yeah. Patricky Free Pitbull from Bellator is also on Team Sao Paulo. That makes sense. He's from Brazil. But Fabricio Verdum is also on that team. So look, this is what they needed to do. If you're going to launch a promotion, you have to have some names.
Yeah.
My only problem is we've seen tournaments fail. Like Bellator is a good example. Before Scott Coker came in and kind of turned Bellator around, they were only doing tournaments. That's fine to an extent. The PFL, they're getting away from tournaments now. They were struggling to compete with the UFC. I'm curious to see if this is going to work out because tournament style, which MMA is built on tournaments. That's not saying tournaments are bad, but it's just the way that they're kind of doing it can be difficult to master, and nobody's really figured it out yet, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, also I thought this was cool. It was like a live fantasy football scenario because they even drafted like in a snake draft. So like if you're round 1 first pick, then you're the last.
Oh, you got back to back.
Okay. Yeah, and then you get back to back, and
I like that. Guys are taking number 1 realistically. Anybody, any of the names that are out there, who are you taking at 1?
Who am I taking at 1? I'm taking the best. I think I'm taking the overall best athlete. Out of the names, I guess. I don't know. I haven't looked at the
Romero
500. I wouldn't do it.
I would. I'm sorry, but he's just a freak of an athlete. Yeah. I would against other older guys. Hell yeah.
I would have talked Rampage Jackson.
Underrated thought about that pickup.
Hey, you look down on me. That's my pick for the whole dang thing. Yeah.
Does Chuck Liddell have any eligibility? Who else can I dust off? Brock Lesnar. He didn't have a job right now. He's still laying low after those Vince allegations.
Well, he can't do anything because of his back. Can he? Is the whole reason he quit MMA was because he had a back injury or something?
Diverticulitis.
Diverticulitis. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. They tried to take some of his intestine out or something. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was completely off on that one. My bad.
But yeah. Maybe the whole aspect, I don't know about who I would draft, but maybe the team aspect will be what can save the tournament. Because I agree with that take. And we've dealt with it ourselves. It's any promoter's worst nightmare when someone wins a tournament fight and then says, I broke my hand. I was supposed to go on. Now what do we do? Because do you advance the guy who lost? That's not satisfying for an audience.
No.
But in a team versus team aspect, if you have someone, it's going to be a letdown regardless, but that comes with the sport. We dealt with that, with the last UFC card, right? Like you have late minute scratches. That's just part of the game. But maybe at least if you have a vested interest in one of the teams, then you're like, all right, well, my guy is out, but New York, man, like we got to win this one. We're going to have to make it up. That middleweight fight, that's a coin flip. We're really going to need that one now because we're probably not going to advance in the heavyweight tournament. I don't know. It gives you a chance, I guess, to rationalize as a fan and maybe move on. But that tournament thing, it seems like it's everybody wants to do it. Everybody wants to figure it out. And at a certain point, you run into that where you're like, oh, this is probably why no one does these. This is why they're such a pain in the. It's a logistical nightmare, folks. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see how this is going to play out. I feel like I'm going to kind of go off of what Wade said, and they did the right thing. They brought a whole bunch of names in to start off with. To start off with, that's fine, but it's not sustainable because how good are these fights really going to be with 40-year-old people fighting? Not saying they can't, just how entertaining is it going to be, So it's going to be, how are they going to go forward? Okay, this first season will probably be great, sure, but what are they going to do next time? This season, they're probably going to bring in a lot of people, a lot of money, because you got top tier athletes at one point. They were top tier athletes, not anymore, but they were. And so you've got all your old MMA people who've been watching it since basically the start of it. And they're going to be like, look at these people. I'm going to watch them fight again. This is kind of like how we were, let's be honest, kind of how like I was when we could watch Mike Tyson fight again. It was like, yes, I want to see this. But as a fighter, you realistically thinking like, this guy's old. He's not going to be able to fight. But you wanted to see that knockout. And I think that's what you're going to kind of get with this, especially the first couple of rounds or first couple of cards. You're going to get people buying it because, heck, I'd love to see, like I already said, Ramiro. I'd love to see him fight again. I love to see Frank Mir fight again. I like to see Ferguson and all these other people fight again, just because they were great fighters. They're interesting to watch. They're fun to watch. And so I think they're going to bring everybody in. Now the question is going to be, if this is successful, how are they going to go forward? Are they going to bring all these people back? Are they going to try to go out and get, like a Brock Lesnar, or maybe they're going to try to fish out, if they do make good money, try to snag a Conor McGregor? I mean, that's not going to happen because Conor wants big time money. But what I'm getting at is just that star power. You're going to try to get those guys that are instantly cut from the UFC, people who are cut from Bellator. Well, PFL, sorry, Bellator doesn't exist anymore. But where are you going to get these guys unless you're going to start hunting for younger guys and you're going to start fishing into, the minor leagues, to say in MMA, and start trying to pawn people off of where UFC does and go after, people from LFA, people from, Cage Fury, people from these bigger, small promotions. You're going to have to start fishing from them. And now you're going to have to start competing with the UFC. So you better make sure you're making your money this season. So that's why they made a good decision, in my opinion, of getting these people so they can start buying people and bringing them in, other than having the UFC buy them out in the sense of fighters.
Yeah, I got two things for that. Like you said, how good are these fights going to be? I think they'll be a lot better than what you think, only because I think it's going to be more susceptible to knockouts. So I think that there might be a higher finish rate when it comes to MMA, in which people love it. They love to see it. Secondly, I think they're going to have to go to that regional scene and really just be a top tier recruiter to find these upcoming talents before the big ones like UFC and PFL get them to their promotion. So
don't forget about one champion.
One champion too. Yeah. I feel like they're just going to have to be diligent in their research and really know how to assess talent, up and coming talent.
Yeah, because this season one talent is not going to last them multiple years. So I'm with you there, Wade. And that's my biggest concern is, and not just in the scouting. That's going to be huge and very important. But they better make sure they have a good production team because, again, just to dip into a little bit to the wrestling side of things for a moment. But those of you who have been fans and those of you who haven't have no idea what the power of a 90-second promo video with the right music can do to get someone ready for a fight. You've seen some of them. Again, the UFC's got ESPN production value behind their stuff. You are not only going to have to go find some talent, but you're going to have a production team ready for interviews, voiceovers, promotional packages to create those stars. Because the second that prospect that you bring from Iowa does come up and knock out Lyoto Machida or what other geezer he's going to be in there with, you need to be able to capitalize on that and turn that into your next generation of stars. Otherwise, you're just going to flame out in about 2 to 3 seasons when all these guys have taken one too many knockouts and they can't get back in there.
Yep, it's top tier marketing is what they're going to have, like, because they're going to have to, like you said, they get this upcoming talent, knock out someone big, they have to market the crap out of them. And you just got to see it all the time to start bringing that new following in, and people catch, GFL is actually, there's some great talent there. Let me watch this now.
Yeah, it should be annoying for us fans who watch this stuff. It should be annoying You know what I mean? Because since
Yeah.
we're looking at the stuff, we're talking about it, we're watching it. It should be annoying to people like us. That's how good their marketing needs to be.
Mm-hmm. Also, I want to circle back, Clayton. It was between Tyron Woodley and Derek Brunson. I think I go Tyron Woodley only because he's a former champion.
Derek Brunson would have been a good pick too.
Yeah.
And I have a trivia question for all of you, actually. So, the last league, really, the true league with the name league in its name outside of the PFL, but they don't really count anymore, was the International Fight League. That was in like the mid-2000s. Who was their heavyweight champion? Last IFL heavyweight champion. He was a UFC guy, got a couple number one contender fights, never fought for a title, but he was up there, won a season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Ooh. Oh.
Still fighting. He's 48 and he's still fighting.
You know, that makes sense. He's heavyweight, 48. That makes sense. But I don't know. I'm bad with names, so don't even ask me with names.
Fair enough.
Big country or something. I'm trying to think of.
You got it, Kev.
Let's go.
But no, Kevin's the one that gets it.
What is that?
Johnson was the last IFL heavyweight champion, won a season of The Ultimate Fighter, and that's how he got into the UFC.
I would not have guessed Roy.
I am blown away that he's not doing this. Like, you know what I mean? This has Roy Nelson written all over it in my mind.
Is he still bare knuckle?
There's a
500. He fights bare knuckle MMA. He fights Jorge Masvidal shows.
Yeah, he's in a. That dude's a beast, man. Wild.
Yeah.
Shoot. Well, hey, I'm looking forward to it. Let's just put it that way. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be, at least this first year is going to be successful. We'll see kind of how the next season goes. But moving on, we're running out of a little time here. We kind of took a big chunk of the day talking about that. So now we've got UFC Fight Night, which is this Saturday. Adesanya versus Imhoff. Yeah, there we go. I can't pronounce French name. I can't.
Not Sordini, Mavov.
Yeah, see, that's why I let you guys. See, that's why you guys are the commentators, and I'm behind the camera. All right, because I can't pronounce crap. Real quick, because I kind of wanted to ask Clayton this. How many fights does Israel have to do? What does he have to do to get back into a belt fight?
I think he goes in. Oh, sorry.
Hey, wait, go ahead. Jump in there. Come on.
Because I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, man, if Adesanya goes in there, dominates, gets a stoppage, he has to be in the talking for the next
because he's still, I think, ranking. I think he's third in middleweight.
Yes.
Yeah, but on the opposite, like for the layman fan, he goes in there and loses, then it's like, ooh, is he tanking? I don't believe so, because his losses are against obviously former championships. This is his first fight that's not been on a pay-per-view in a very, very, very long time.
Well, this is the first fight in 12 fights that he hasn't fought for a belt.
Yeah.
But 2019, and do you guys know who he last fought before he didn't fight for a belt? Big name. Very big name.
Anderson Silva,
yes. That was Izzy's last non-title fight in 2019.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm asking, what is it going to take for him? I mean, the guy's got the pedigree for it. So how long until he gets back in there? So
with a loss to the champion right now, obviously DDP still has the belt. He fights Strickland the weekend after. Izzy has to win this fight in relatively convincing fashion, like Wade said. He's got to get, some crazy spinning back kick type finish. Mm-hmm. And even then, before he gets a shot, I think that DDP would have to lose the belt. And even if he lost it to Sean Strickland, he wouldn't be first. They give it to Hamzat.
Yeah.
The only advantage that Izzy has in that regard, he's allowed in the United States. Hamzat Chimaev is currently not allowed in the United States. So with that being on his side, like I said, if Sean wins and he wins, I think they'll pair them up again. But at the same time, Hamzat's out there. Hamzat literally broke some of Robert Whittaker's teeth. So, like,
That is
how do you not
ridiculous.
give that guy the next shot?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like he deserves a next shot. Like I was not expecting him to win that convincing lead against. Why am I blanking on his name? Hamzat.
Chimaev.
Wow. Yeah, Chimaev, but Robert Whitaker. Dang,
Robert
why did I blank on that? I was not
What do you
expecting
mean?
him to win that convincingly against him. Like he went in there, took him down, which I figured he would eventually get him down.
Right.
But to not even get it in all the way and just have that much strength to just crush someone's teeth like that. Yeah, he deserves a shot.
Well,
Yeah.
when are you going to get Strickland back in there? I mean, because like he lost the belt to it wasn't even a unanimous decision.
Yeah.
It was a split decision, and still to me, like this is just me and my kind of philosophy on it. If you're going in there, you're fighting the champ, you got to beat the champ convincingly. To
Yes.
me, I'm sorry, but having a decision like that, or a split decision like that, it is not very convincing to me that you're the ultimate champ.
Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
calls at least for a rematch, right?
Yeah.
If a title fight's a decided split decision, I feel like the next fight needs to be running it back if everyone's healthy. Because I
Sean
tend to
lost
agree
that
with you
fight
there.
because he got a cut on his forehead. That, in my mind, that is why Sean lost that fight. I'm watching it, and I really thought after the final horn, I was like, okay, Strickland's got this.
So did I.
Like, there was nothing that DDP did in that fight, and we'll see on February 8th, I think, is when they're fighting again. But it just, if he walks away victorious, Izzy better be like cheering for Sean Strickland.
Yeah.
In my mind, if he wins this, because that's realistically going to be his only shot to get back to the belt in my mind.
Well,
I think so too.
I think Strickland should be back there before Izzy does, though, in my opinion.
He will be on February 8th.
Yeah, February. It's already set up.
Yeah, well, see, that shows you how much I pay attention.
Yeah,
I know I'm right. See, I'm right. That's what I'm saying. I'm right.
Well, I'm glad they came around to my way of thinking.
Exactly.
See how right I was? Even they know it.
Yeah, so they're fighting in February. So Sean has to win that for Adesanya. I totally agree on that point.
And then I don't even know what the heck you do with Sean Strickland if he loses that fight. So he better figure it out, is all I'm going to say there.
Would you like to see another Izzy versus Strickland? I mean, that went the distance too. That was a unanimous decision.
Sean kicked the crap out of him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
What a 1-2s. The whole
He was
five
doing
rounds.
Keeping a 1-2.
Basic, standing straight up.
More people should fight like that. Stand straight up right in front of somebody. Sean doesn't have I don't know if you guys know this, but Sean Strickland doesn't have a quad.
I
Really?
did not know that.
He does not have one of his quads. So he got in a motorcycle accident in 2018. And when he was like sliding down the road, it tore off. I want to say it might have been his right quad. Tore it off on the road. And he said on the Rogan Experience, like, that didn't really hurt me too much. But like, if I was athletic, that would have been bad. Like,
Shoot.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Now, is there any other fights on this UFC fight card that UFC Fight Night that you're looking forward to at all, boys?
There's a handful for sure. Shara Bullet, Michael Venom Page. If you're gonna beat a guy like Shara Bullet, who's also not allowed to fight in the United States, but that's because he's blind in one eye. If you're gonna fight him, Michael Venom Page is the perfect guy to do it. Like, you know what I mean? You need a guy that's able to strike with him, and MVP is one of the handful of guys in the UFC that can do that. So that's worth keeping an eye on. Sergey Pavlovich versus Jairzinho, Biggie Boy, Rosenstruik. That's another good one. Two big heavyweights. Pavlovich has taken a couple losses, so that'll be fun. That'll be fun to see if he can get back on track. Khan Offley was a Ultimate Fighter runner-up on this last season. He's from Australia. So this is his first, I think this is his first the Ultimate Fighter fight in the UFC, like his first regular.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then my boy Terrence McKinney. This dude, he's 15-7 as a pro. Never seen the bell. Not one time. He either gets the finish or he gets finished. There's
Nothing wrong
no
with
in
that.
between.
Nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
This dude is awesome. He's so fun. Like I said, he's gonna get the win or he's gonna get finished trying. So
He's negative 525 for that fight.
I'm putting money. My bet of the weekend. I was thinking about this when I was driving back to my apartment today. My bet for this weekend is Terrence McKinney's fight to not go the distance. That is absolutely.
Hold on, what are the odds for that? Hold on. Let me see what the odds are for that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not even giving you odds for the fight goes the distance.
Come on, DraftKings.
Yeah, dude, the house
They're
always
off.
wins. They know. They're like, hey, come on, no
Dude,
guarantees.
By
now.
KO, TKO off, by submission off, by points off. It's just money line. That is it. That is all that they are giving you.
Garbage. Come on, DraftKings. Let me
I
have
know.
a little fun here. Come on.
FanDuel would never.
Amen. But
No.
you got Maria Bueno Silva. She fought for a title. She's also on this card. One of my favorite things of all time is seeing her and Raquel Pennington go back and forth, and Sean Strickland being like, "Oh my God, stop talking!" It's
I feel like
worth
Sean
a Google.
Strickland's
That's the
pretty
only time I've ever seen Sean Strickland in my life shut his mouth. Like
funny.
that is the only time I've seen him actually hold it in. It was crazy.
Oh, that is priceless. That is priceless. Well, all right. Well, it looks like we've got ourselves a good UFC Fight Night coming up February 1st. Now, remember, this is in what?
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. So it's going to be an early card. So I think it starts at like 6.
Starts at 9
Right
a.m.
afternoon.
9
What
a.m. and then main card's at noon.
Yep.
Noon. See, I was off. I'm glad I asked. But I knew it was early. I knew it was early. All right. So at
Yep.
least I was there. Okay.
It's in Saudi Arabia, not Salt Lake.
Oh, my
A little further away.
A little further away. So next, we had some good fights coming out of the PFL last weekend. One in particular, I know Wade really had his eyes on it.
Yeah, I didn't watch the whole card, but I was watching some highlights. And Khan versus Nada. Khan threw like a front kick, and Nada went to block it down like this and snapped his arm in half.
Broke his arm.
I was like, oh. He broke it, and he kind of backed up, and he looks down. He's like, oh God.
Yeah, just what do you even do in that? I'm sure he didn't really feel it just because of adrenaline, but
Yeah.
if I look down and my arm's at a 45-degree angle, I'm like, oh, well, that'll do it, I guess.
I think we're done.
Yeah, all right, guys, we're gonna call it. That's fine. Happens.
Yeah.
What a perfect strike, though, because when that happened to me, and I can confirm, there is nothing more surreal than your brain telling your arm to do a motion and it can't do it because half of it is just dangling there. Other than being on morphine and realizing you're accidentally sitting on your broken arm. This was pre-surgery. But, when that happened to me, I got T-boned by a semi going slightly over the speed limit. So goddamn, bro, how hard and on a perfect strike would you have to hit somebody to snap their arm bone like that?
Yeah. He snapped both bones too. Both of the bones in the arm. It was.
That's such a perfect demonstration of when you see those fights and you see a guy just take a handful of leg kicks and then all of a sudden he can't move on one side of it. And if you're the layman, you're the average fan, you're like, wow, it was only 4 or 5 kicks.
Yep.
And then you see those videos where some
Take it.
influencer takes one kick and they're like, oh my God, I've had a Charlie horse for 3 days. I can't move my
I saw another highlight of that too. I saw a highlight there. I forget who it was. But guy inside leg kick, and he did a couple of them, but the one he did, it was man, perfect. And dude just went down. He didn't snap it like a Chris Weidman, but it was bad enough to where he couldn't put pressure on it. He just dropped down and it was I'm done. So he had to have at least a hairline fracture in there. It was loud. It sounded like a baseball bat. I'm like, dang.
I learned my lesson the hard way when it comes to those kicks because me when I first came in, I was a boxer, and I won't forget this. It was the first time I got to go and train with the big boys on Saturday, All right. And our coach, Gary Young, was actually sparring and stuff with us and doing all that stuff. And me, I'm in a boxer stance, right? Like I am narrow as narrow can be, and we're doing kickboxing. And if you know anything about fighting, that is a huge mistake because that just keeps your leg completely exposed and you can't block it. I learned very quickly that day to change my stance. Right?
That's the day Zach learned to throw southpaw.
I will not forget that. I remember Gary kicking me. I remember, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember who was all there, but another Kevin, we called him Bulldozer. It was my big rival because we were the same weight class, and he just tore my leg up and just laughed about it later. They're like, yeah, you'll learn. You'll learn.
Yeah, we Kevins are real ankle biters. You gotta look out.
See, you learn or you're hurting. That's the thing.
Yeah. That's the thing about fighting. That's why it's all about experience. A prime example of that is the first fighter that I ever had, Seth, Morris, Lights Out Morris. And I fought him. A couple of, I think it was about a year later, he came back and was going to fight again, and he wanted me to corner him, and I beat him being on top of him and beating him TKO. Well, this fight, same thing happened, and I looked at him. I go, let me ask you. I'm like, when was the last time you were in that position? Was it when I was over top of you? He goes, yeah. I go, that's why you lost, because you didn't put yourself in those situations to understand and work your way out of those situations. You need to put yourself in those hard situations so you know how to get out of them. You know how to keep your composure, and then you can execute whatever you need to do to escape and get into a better position. And he never practiced it. So there's no way he was going to get out of it. And I chewed him out for that.
We did that in wrestling. Like in practices, we'd go to a tournament and stuff, and coach is like, all right, we sucked in this position. So on live day, Tuesdays was live day, so we go on live day, and he'd be like, get in this position. All right, you got a minute to get out. Go. And you had to work your way out. Or if you didn't, you're doing push-ups. And then you go again.
Fighting, you don't do push-ups. You just get punched in the face. So talk about being punched in the face. I've got a question for you guys. I just heard, all right, we have the new fight of the century coming up, okay? And I want your guys' opinion on this fight that's coming up. All right. Because, we had the fight of the century that's supposed to be Conor McGregor versus Jake Paul, and that got scratched. I know you're disappointed, Kevin. I'm sorry. I know you're very disappointed in that.
It's mostly Kevin.
My two favorite people to watch fight and to watch promote fights. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I got the next best fight that's coming up. Okay. Logan Paul versus Jake Paul coming March 27th, HBO Max. I know you guys are ready for this. It is the fight of the century. It is the fight, as they said on their post. It's the fight you've been waiting for an eternity or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
what are your guys' thoughts on the brothers that probably fought many times when they're growing up, now fighting on the stage?
I can tell you that probably 99% of the people are only going to watch that fight for the undercard. They better have a stacked undercard.
They better put some.
First off, they already think. Well, I won't say everybody, because some people probably don't, but
no, everybody.
Majority of the people I think they're just con artists. And so if you put two Paul in a main event, like, it's already rigged.
They're gonna hug each other.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If these two wanted to choreograph a fight in the ring, why wouldn't they go across the aisle where Logan is already a top wrestling guy and just say, hey, let's do our fake bullshit here? Because there would be an audience for, although that would be tough though, because Logan has so much heat and there's no way you can make Jake Paul a babyface. So like heel programs are difficult. You have to have like The Rock or a Stone Cold where like they might be a bad guy, but the crowd loves them because they drink beer or they call people bitch or whatever. So you would need something like that. But yeah, this is just going to be the fakest fight we've ever seen, I think. Are they going to hug each other and say, hey, you go too easy on me or go easier on me?
You hit me too hard, bro.
Yeah, calm down, bro. You want that?
Hey,
and no knockout. It's going to go to a decision. It's going to go all the way. Neither of these two would be willing to take the ego hit or the brand hit to actually lose to the other. There's no way. I'll be surprised if this fight even happens, because that's another weird part. And correct me if I'm wrong, we don't do as much boxing as we do with the MMA, but that's not even 2 months to gear up for the fight of the century. Really? Yeah. And these two do not stay, especially not Logan. Maybe Jake does, but they're not full-time pro fighters. Right? Like, if you take somebody out of the UFC or somebody who's currently boxing and say, okay, they've only got 2 months to prepare for their fight, you say, okay, they can, maybe not ideal, but they can get that done. How are these two going to train for a fight in 2 months? That's going to be worth a damn.
I will say Jake, he does train a lot. Like, he's put all his focus into fighting for that. But Logan, absolutely not. Like,
he's in shape at least. He's athletic.
He is in shape. Yeah. He is athletic.
I mean, WWE's going to keep him in shape, but not fighter shape. Those are two different types of conditioning, just like a boxer and a wrestler. Two different, different.
In boxing, they can't throw you out the ring so you can take a 5-minute powder while we cut the commercial break, or a nice headlock. Remember, back in the 80s, they just like put you in a headlock for 3 whole minutes and be like, "Oh, this is so much fun."
Dude, when I knew that's exactly where you were going. I was like, dude. And I look at that and I'm like, first and foremost, Jake's going to win. Like, we'll start. Yeah. There. Logan's not going to beat him. Jake has a lot more experience. He's been in there with he's been in there with some MMA fighters, which is better than nothing. Like, I would argue those MMA fighters are better than a lot of like the journeyman boxers guys are getting fed nowadays. Like, but still, dude, like this is such a joke. Like, if I thought that, like, staring at Mike Tyson at 58 getting his butt kicked by Jake Paul, sitting there thinking, wow, I am a victim of the smartest marketing plot I've ever seen before in my life. I'm not going to be a victim this time. I'm not watching this shit. You kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll watch it later. I'm not going to pay for it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, God, no. I'll see everything I need to see on Twitter, and we can call it good from there. Like,
the only way I pay for this is, like you said, they've got some undercard people that I want to watch. That's the only way I'm going to buy this.
Yeah.
You have to buy it. It's on HBO Max.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I don't have to buy it. I can watch it because I've got HBO Max, so.
I don't have Max.
DC all the way, baby.
Well,
what?
I guess I'm going to have to move on.
Sorry. Crossover.
But I will not watch it live because I want
this is not dweebs. I'm sorry. I ain't got the bald head for it. I can talk about it. Screw you, Kevin.
Come on, baby, let's go. We're like Dragon Balls. We just need to find 3 more bald guys for our podcast.
Hey, shave your head.
Bro, I got to keep this while I can. Both my grandpas were bald. Like,
what do you want? You want to go bald or do you want the Jerry curls, Wade? Which one? You got to choose.
You have to choose.
No habla inglés.
There we go. Okay, so Gary was talking. This is Dozer Bob Moore. Bob Moore used to beat my ass in jiu-jitsu. He would sit there and just go over the same thing over and over again. He'd sit there, same combo, head arm triangle into the next thing, into the next thing. It made me good at defending. I'll tell you that. Thanks, Gary. Appreciate that.
Shouts out to Gary.
Well, I remember you talking about sparring with Dan Stevenson too, and just how big that dude was.
He was massive. No. He wasn't the worst one. So the worst one, you probably don't know him. Jim. So Big Jim, and this dude was like almost 7 foot tall. He had he had something wrong with his elbow, and so it was like he was in a constant hook. Okay, and I sparred him like for one of my very first spars ever, and I got hit in the face by him. I go, I'm never getting hit by him again. And I ran the entire next round from it, and I collapsed because my legs went hold me up because I was running like a little bitch the entire time from him. I was like, I'm not getting punched by him. I'm not. I'm going to
crazy thing too is he was like a black belt jiu-jitsu guy too.
Oh, dude, I've never seen such a big dude do an omoplata. Holy crap! Talk about he was like 7 foot tall doing omoplatas on guys. That is an insane submission to do at that size. He loved it.
That's wild.
Yeah. I could argue he's probably pushing like 300 pounds. Like, big guy, like not like super like fat,
Not
like
fat. I mean,
300
7
pounds,
foot
like,
tall. I mean,
Yeah.
just
You're big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You are big.
And talking about big things, speaking of big things, we have
transition.
the Wrestling Minute, because I'm pretty sure the Royal Rumble is right down the road. And that's going to lead us into what's the next thing after that? Royal Rumble, and then
We're gonna have
WrestleMania or something.
The
I don't know.
Elimination Chamber is going to come in
see?
before that. So that should be the next one, I believe. WrestleMania is in April. So we are officially, as of Saturday, in WrestleMania season. As Zach mentioned, the Royal Rumble is coming to my beloved city of Indianapolis. Now, unfortunately, the WWE is so hot that I could not buy tickets to go see, unlike last year when Fastlane was in Indy, and those tickets were no problem to get. But that was still pretty cool. It was a nice little event. I love that Indianapolis is getting. It's the one perk to having to listen to Pat McAfee every Monday night just piss me off for 3 straight hours is the fact that at least Indianapolis now has some good grace with the WWE. They're getting some of the big pay-per-views. Royal Rumble is right up there with SummerSlam as one of the big, and WrestleMania, like it's one of the big 4. You can't do better than the Royal Rumble. And so throughout the last week or so, everybody's been announcing. We've got all the big names. We talked about that a little bit last week. And we've also got some new big names in the women's division coming over. So I don't know how much we talked about this, but the WWE and TNA are in business officially now. So fans of a more indie style of wrestling may get to see some of their favorite TNA stars end up in the Royal Rumble. Guys that Wade might remember, a guy by the name of Dolph Ziggler, who was the second coming of Shawn Michaels, if only they knew how to fucking book him. Guy could do everything in the ring. He is now Nick Nemeth, former TNA champion. I'd love to see him. But no, I actually have a question for you guys. Since, as I said, all of the major Royal Rumble announcements that we know of have been listed. So you've got John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk called out Cody Rhodes. You've got Seth Rollins. Everybody except for Cody Rhodes and Gunther that can draw a dime for the WWE is going to be in that Royal Rumble. They're going to have the big names, but we also always know there's going to be a couple callbacks. There's going to be somebody that you haven't seen in a few years. So I'll lead with you, Wade, and see if any of you guys have other opinions. I'd love to hear them. Any nominees for a throwback legend that you would want to see make their return to the Royal Rumble? Ric Flair says he wants one more match, Wade. Keep that in mind.
Woo! Me, to really hit that ultimate nostalgia, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Why? Because he was my favorite.
Good choice.
Yes. The pop that would get from the crowd, just the sound of the glass breaking, that place would absolutely erupt. Like you guys probably see, all they have to do for Undertaker is turn the lights off and gong that damn church bell one time, and the place loses their mind. I love the Undertaker, one of the greatest of all time. At his age and at his size, his joints don't work anymore. The man can barely move. Nobody cares. They're just like, hell yes, dude, the Undertaker is here. So I agree. Stone Cold has no knee cartilage left. He wouldn't be able to do too much, but all he'd have to do is come in there, clang a couple of beers together, hit somebody with the stunner, and get thrown out by an up-and-coming heel. Probably Logan Paul. That's a great elimination for that asshole Logan Paul, who will also be in the Royal Rumble. That's the big move, right? You got to have some up-and-coming asshole to kick out the fan favorites. Additionally, or wait, sorry, does any Zach, do you have anybody that you would want to see?
I don't know. I think one that you would really like would be Hulk Hogan, right? You'd love to see him back in there and get booed out, because he wouldn't get cheered, he'd get booed again, right?
Oh, he got CM Punk called him out in a promo. He was doing the thing. I'll throw this guy out. I'll throw that guy out. Hell, you can drag Hulk Hogan's old ass out here, and I'll throw his dusty ass out too. And the place went nuts. Like, they hate Hulk Hogan right now.
New villain, huh?
I really wish, I really wish they'd have done like a Bret Hart thing with him where he'd be popular in some towns and then other towns they would boo the hell out of him because, not everybody hates Hulk Hogan, just most of the people that have heard the things he said in the past 20 years. So
personally, though, I would want to go with a Sting. Sting was my favorite. So I would love to see. I know he retired in that, but I love Sting coming from the rafters. Sorry,
I don't know if they'll bring anybody from the rafters in WWE.
Probably not.
That's
But you know what I mean, like that. He was my favorite. I know your favorite was probably LaParca, probably growing up.
Zach, do you remember?
No, mine was Sting actually. Yeah.
Good.
I was a big luchador. I was a big Chris Jericho fan.
Do you guys remember that guy that used to dress up as Sting and just
yes,
in the corner in Finley just doing Sting shit?
My sister was friends with him.
Yeah. Did he also do Hulk Hogan? Did he own? Wait, wasn't that
he only did Sting? They knew he did
Sting.
switch it up. He did switch it up there for a little bit and did somebody else, but I don't remember who it was.
Oh man!
But he was Sting for the longest time.
He was out having his own show on a corner of like a busy street and like almost every day it was like a different corner. He's out there. Oh man, I always wonder where he went.
We're saving the best for last here, boys.
Let's go. I love it.
I'm saying. So, talked about bringing old guys back from the past. There's no old guy better to bring back to the Royal Rumble than the first Royal Rumble winner. American Patriot, known hero, 2x4 King, Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's my pick. That's my pick.
Okay,
yes, I love that. Yes, I'm here for it.
Yeah, if Hulk Hogan can get in there, like, come on, guys, we can bring Hacksaw.
Yeah, we got to do it. I love the Jim Duggan pull. That's amazing. The only other bit of news for the group I have for the Wrestling Minute, we'll probably have a bonus episode this week because there's so much other shit to talk about that we may just spend an hour talking about wrestling later on. But I found this to be funny. A year after Vince McMahon is no longer in charge, the current Chief Creative Officer, Paul Triple H Levesque, will be the headliner for this year's WWE Hall of Fame, which is that not a little bit like the boss giving himself the Employee of the Month award?
Yeah.
No, that
Are you kidding
is
me?
exactly what that is.
I am getting flamed on social media right now because I posted that meme of Barack Obama putting a medal on himself, and people are like, "Well, that doesn't even make sense." They said that Nick Khan surprised him. I'm like, he is the boss. I don't care if his other co-boss surprised him with the announcement. You're giving yourself an award. This is the most George Bluth Arrested Development bullshit I've ever seen. Wait till you're retired to go into the Hall of Fame. Are you not in it already? Like DX isn't already in the Hall of Fame. That's the weird thing that they like to do. The WWE, you can get in the Hall of Fame as an individual performer. You can get in. Like Hulk Hogan's in there 3 times, I think. He's in there for himself. He's in there as the NWO. You've got people go in there multiple times because they need to make this money every year and they don't have people worthy of entering their Hall of Fame every year. Hence them putting the guy who's in charge of writing the show into the Hall of Fame while he's actively writing the show. Like, this is propaganda, folks. And I love this product. And even I'm just like, what the hell? This is the most Tony Khan thing I've ever seen Paul Levesque do. Now, you are don't take too much from the other side, boys. You guys are the ones that are hot. You don't want to be practicing what AEW is doing right now. Keep the boss out of it. But what do you guys think? Am I wrong here? Or do I have to wait for Zach to present himself with Carnage Media Executive of the Year coming up? Is that in our future?
Yeah. Right here, this guy, the bald one.
First inductee. Oh, guys, this moment's so much bigger than me. I would love to thank my manager and all of my coworkers. I can't believe this happened.
Thank you to everyone who showed up. I know I made this mandatory, but
yeah.
I appreciate it.
I know I threatened
you put a
all of you
smile
with your jobs if you didn't post this on your social media, but gentlemen, since we're talking about the WWE Hall of Fame, it did come up. Final trivia question of the night. Who was the first celebrity in the celebrity wing of the WWE Hall of Fame, who's the first guy?
I'll let you guys go for. I don't know that I'm right. I have an idea.
Well, it's gonna be like Trump or something.
He is in there, but he's not
in
the
there.
Oh,
first
I was
one.
gonna say it's gonna be like him or something because I know he's been on there quite a few times. I don't know, honestly. I know Kevin probably might
Is it a
know.
baseball celebrity?
It is a baseball celebrity. Yes.
Ooh, okay. It's either Pete Rose or Bob Uecker.
I'll go Pete Rose.
Yeah,
Pete
let's
Rose
go.
was the first celebrity WWE Hall of Fame guy.
He had to get into some Hall of Fame.
Well, after they kicked him out of baseball, he was like, well, I need money now to cover my obsessive gambling problem, allegedly. So WrestleMania. And then, yeah, he was in WrestleMania like 3 straight years.
Yeah, Vince McMahon's just getting drunk at the Luxor, and Pete Rose is there signing autographs in 1990 something, and he's like, "Well, goddamn, pal, are you Charlie Hustle? Well, goddamn, let's get you in the Royal Rumble, pal. We're gonna put you in the in San Diego. God, they got this guy. He wears a chicken mascot suit. We're gonna put you in the chicken suit, and you're gonna come out there." And you're going to pick a fight with Kane. It's going to be awesome. We'll put you in the Hall of Fame, Charlie. God damn. Sorry.
Speaking of the man, I hear he's looking to start a competitor to the WWE. Have you heard this news? He's after he got kicked out and banned from the WWE. Now he's like, well, I miss it a little bit. I think I miss it. I want to get back into it. So he's going to start a whole nother one. How do you think that one's going to go there, Kev?
There is nowhere for him to go. Now, I've heard multiple versions of this rumor. I've heard that it was going to maybe be a production company that would do TV shows and movies. Going back on that history, look at the WWE's produced products. They've had maybe a couple of movies that folks like, generally speaking. Going all the way back to, I think there was one that Hulk Hogan claims that he and Vince McMahon wrote together in a hotel room. I can't remember. Something Thunder. It was a bad movie. I don't know. Like he would know the people to hire. If the right people would still be willing to work with him, I believe he could put a production team together. The problem with it being wrestling is there's nowhere for him to pull talent from. He can't, it's not 1984 again. He cannot buy everybody out. He cannot screw everybody over. He is not the best game in town. You either have the WWE, which is linked to TKO and the UFC that's now on Netflix, or you have AEW that is linked to Warner Brothers, HBO Max. They just got a 3-year deal. Oh, by the way, Tony Khan will just give you as much money as you want to come over. So anybody who gets ostracized from the WWE can just go over and work at AEW and basically book themselves because there's no production meetings the day of. There is no booking committee. It's just fucking a wild west out there. You can go there, go do whatever the hell you want and get paid handsomely to do it. And if that doesn't work for you, if Tony decides he's going to stop booking you and you have to sit out for 2 years and wait for your contract to expire, you can go to TNA. Well, guess what? TNA is now contractually paired with No Holds Barred. Yes, that movie. TNA is now paired with NXT in the WWE. So outside of that, like who's he going to work with? GCW? Like there are a couple of smaller groups left, but Vince McMahon's not going to come back to do an indie show, right? If he's going to do it, he wants the pomp and circumstance. And unfortunately, unless he's able to call these GFL guys and say, hey, send me these guys when you're done with them. He doesn't have the name power to draw from. So, even if Brock Lesnar decides like, oh, I'm going to go be with Vince, that's not enough. There aren't going to be enough people. So I hope for all of our sakes that doesn't happen. Although it might provide some cheap laughs, but I think
it might be fun to watch it crash and burn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But then you got to think about the boys, though, and all in the girls as well. There's a lot of women wrestlers out there. I would really suck, right? To go to this place and then 6 months later you don't have a job and probably no one wants to work with you because of the job you decided to take.
Man.
Yeah, just I don't know, man. Go get that Jacksonville Jaguar money.
Oh man,
I'm rooting for you, AEW. It's tough love. Okay. I would be much happier if I enjoyed that product. I don't like to do this as much as it is my brand to be a curmudgeon. I would much rather say, dude, this is the tits, man. We got 2 great products. You can just do whatever you want. It's amazing. That's it for the Wrestling Minute, gang.
Well, Clayton, where can they find you?
You guys can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at cscalina12. You best believe I'll be watching the fights this weekend. So come tweet at me, see what I'm thinking. Terrence McKinney, all that good stuff. Follow my podcast as well at Hot Take Sports 16 on all of your social media platforms. Kev, where can the people find you, brother?
You can find me on Twitter or Facebook getting dunked on about my opinions over the Paul v. Paul fight or Triple H giving himself a prize. You can also find us over on Bite Size Sports. We are approaching 700 subs over there. So if y'all could help us get there, we would greatly appreciate it. Live streaming 3 times a week, talking about football, basketball, all of the other sports. Of course, come back here for your combat sports needs. Other than that, I talk about movies and TV shows with another bald gentleman. That's what I'll be doing right after this. So go check me out on the Dweeb. We are talking Star Wars tonight and every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Zach, where can I find you?
You can find Wade and I, both of us, on any of the Carnage Media stuff we've got. Facebook, Instagram, X/Twitter, and obviously YouTube, because you're watching this right now. So catch us there. We've got some stuff coming up. We've got fights coming up soon. We'll have some new videos to drop as well. Some fight videos, so keep an eye out for some of our upcoming fight videos and shorts. We're going to start putting shorts out there for you guys. So,
yep. And Carnage Media PPV page on YouTube is approaching 500. So tell your friends, tell your husbands, tell your wives, tell your kids.
Tell everybody.
Like
and if you want, visit us at www.carnagemediappv.com. where you can see all of our upcoming events. You can see here soon any type of writing things that Kevin or I put out there. And then if you want some pay-per-view services, we've got what we do on there. So check us out.
Hey, some fighter shout outs, right? I want to slide this in real quick before. We got some big fights coming up this week, right? I know Mateo's got a fight. Of course, we talked last week about Gates Cook. He's got that title fight coming up this weekend.
Main event of that too.
That's right. What else we got? I know I think Gary's got to be in two or three states this weekend. I know
he needs to multiply to get that.
So good luck to everybody out there who has fights. Of course, we'll be keeping tabs on that, and we'll let you know how those go next week when we talk. But good luck, everybody.
Yep.
See you guys next week.
Watching. See ya.